And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. We just wrapped up with our first match here of the night of WTL 2024 Summer Code A, day number 4. We just wrapped up with Berserker Esports versus Club NV, and we had a massive upset with Berserker coming out on top. Very nicely done. A shout out to Feral, the owner of Berserker that's in the chat. And now we're getting ready for our second match of the night for Twisted Fairy versus OFFSYDE. Here we go. We have our first match ready for our Stats versus Rex in a PvZ. Vamonos popping quickly, going over the matchups themselves, the lineups themselves. It is going to be Stats versus Rex in a PvZ, Nice versus uThermal in a PV random, and Classic versus Firefly in a PvP. If you're curious, what team is Twisted Fairy? It is a collaboration between Twisted Minds and Little Fairy. Two big teams, they've joined forces here, coming together to compete in WTL, and because of that, their roster is a little bit more bolster than it normally would be. So great to see these two teams come together. Meanwhile, OFFSYDE is a branch off of OnSide Gaming. OnSide Gaming is no longer a thing. They were acquired by Team Vitality, so all the OnSide members are now representing Team Vitality. Meanwhile, OFFSYDE is a branch off. They're still willing to support some of the other up-and-coming players. And here we go. In the bottom left, we have Stats for Twisted Fairy. And in the top right, we have Rex for OFFSYDE. Here we go. OFFSYDE is an interesting team. I feel like they have a lot of potential as a team. Like Rex has been putting in a lot of hours. He's been practicing quite a lot. We have Firefly, of course, the rising star of 2023. One of my favorite players right now to watch, to cheer for. Has been doing very well for himself and has been on the rise. Likewise, we have uThermal, the YouTube man himself, always out here looking to make some content happen, looking to make some shorts and some TikToks, and he's all about the content. Do love it. So it's an interesting team that's come together, and I look forward to seeing how well they can do. As Rex, he's going into the goal. He's crazy. Okay. So we've loaded into Post-Youth. As a reminder, Post-Youth is a predetermined map, so the players did not choose to play on this map. It was forced and thrust upon them, and Rex is going for a hatch gas pool with that gold base. Now, I say risky because, as we've seen time and time again, usually in a ZVP, Zerg players have been avoiding this gold base and taking it as a 4th or even a 5th base instead, because of how exposed it is, because of how vulnerable it is, as Stats is taking his own. So we'll see if Rex can maintain this goal base and keep it alive. I'm curious how he will. Now, typically we have seen if a Zerg player does take this goal base, they go into roaches. They play a roach heavy style to be aggressive, to be assertive, and to keep the pressure on their opponent and to obviously defend that goal base as well. I imagine Rex is going to do the same. We'll see. We'll see how this all comes together. Likewise, we'll see how Stats attempts to punish this base. Typically with Adepts and Oracles, but we'll see. As Stats is going for his own gold, Queens are getting up and running. And I believe if you are in the chat, predictions, I think, are closed now. They were once open, so I hope you got your bets in. Hope you managed to get your gamba on while you could. Just checking. Yeah, predictions have since closed. Okay, we do have most people going for the Stats 2-0. We have some faith in the 1-1 score as well. Do appreciate it. Wish you all the best. Wish you the best here, as it is going to be a Twilight Council opener. So Stats, he's going to be doubling down on aggression. This makes sense. Stats, he isn't the most aggressive player out there, but upon seeing this gold, I mean, mate, you cannot just let it get up and running. So with this Twilight Council opener, it looks like either it's going to be Glaive Adepts or a Dark Shrine. We'll keep an eye on Stats to see what he whips out. There it is. It's going to be Glaives. At the same time, we do see a Ling Bane all in. It's going to be a Bane bust here from Rex. He's going all in across the map, flooding Lings, throwing down the Bane in the nest. Who hits first? I believe Rex will hit first. His goal base is being denied, though. That is brutal. That's a lot of income he's otherwise being deprived of to make this all-in happen. But the gateways are still just now on the way. Bane's is about to finish. I think Rex can pull this off. There we go. Bane's are in production. Can Rex bust through before we can get a massive amount of adepts, a critical amount of adepts? There's no shield battery. No shield battery, no overcharge, no nexus, no nothing. Rex, he can pull this off. I want to believe he's rolling in. He's waddling in towards that natural base. And it looks like we will break through at least the front line. Adept does go down, and we break in. We do break in. We get a surround here on the Adepts. The pylon is exposed. It's going to be shut down as well, depowering both these gateways. And with that, what does Stats have left? We depower the gateways. We bust into the main. 2 gateways are just now finishing. We have 1 Adept here and a mineral line. Rex splitting up his lanes, headed for the gold, headed for the main. Prism has arrived. The Prism actually repowers those gateways. Smart move out of Stats. Repowers 1 gateway, but the wall is still wide open. Lings are flooding in. Bailings are headed for the mineral line. They're waddling in. And Stats, does he split? Does he react? He does pull away. Again, we're casting a bit of a slideshow. We're trying to piece together what's going on. The wall is up and running, but a Bailing does connect with the probes. 1 connection. We need 1 more. We need 1 more connection. It's not going to happen. The Bailings are focused down, and Stats, he's defending. Stats, he cleans up the Ling Bane in his main base. More Lings are flooding in. We go for the Cyber Core. That's going to be a big pick off. But Stats, he forces back the Lings. Uh-oh. The Cyber Core survives. Stats doesn't lose too many workers at all. Stats, he's still on 35. Remember, Rex, he was completely all in. He has to end the game here and now. He needs to end it. There's no turning back. We're trying to break through, and the Cyber Core will fall. We break through the Cyber Core. We break through the gateway. We have sentries. We have force fields. Stats is getting across the map. A little bit unnecessary. Doesn't have to. GG gets called. He holds. He survives. And Stats, he takes game number 1. GG. Oh my god. GG, well played. Rex, I was not opposed to the all-in, by the way. I was not opposed to what he was whipping out there. Things are looking good. He broke through the front line. He flooded into the main and into the natural. And Stats only had 1. We are here to find out. Wonder why Stats did not represent Twisted Fairy in GSL. As we're getting into our game, here we go. In the top right-hand corner, we have Stats for Twisted Fairy. And in the bottom left, we have Rex for Offside. To answer that question, I believe Stats is only representing Twisted Fairy for WTL. I believe it is only an agreement for WTL. I do not believe Stats is officially on a team representing them elsewhere. From my understanding, let me just double check. But from my understanding, that is their current agreement that they do have. Yeah. So it's kind of like Stats is a mercenary for Twisted Minds. You know, again, he's only on them for WTL. For individual tournaments and for other team leagues, he's a teamless player. And we have our answer when it comes to our build of choice. It is going to be the gold as a natural. We're rushing into the gold base. Rex, bold move out of him, but what we were just talking about here is that if Stats sees this ahead of time, he will look to punish it. He won't just let you get this goal base up and running. He won't just allow you to get into an economic advantage, an economic lead. That's not going to happen. So can Rex hold? Can he hold? Can he survive? Can he get away with this? Let's go. Thought Rex had it. I thought so as well. That was crazy. that was a crazy defense there out of Stats. As Stats is soon going to be moving out for a bit of a scout across the map. Meanwhile, Hatchery's getting up and running. Stats are going for a 2-gate opener, by the way. Okay. So with these two gateways finishing up for Stats, he's going to be able to get into double Adept harass quite quickly here. Oh no, wait, never mind. My apologies. That was a Nexus first. Okay, never mind. So with the delayed Cyber Core, that's going to delay our aggression. Go base is getting up and running. As we speak, we are droning up as heavily as possible. And we'll see what kind of tech Stats goes for. As Stats, he does confirm the gold. So we could go for another Twilight Council, which would make sense. Or we could try to go for some more passive Oracle harassment instead. As there we go. We should be able to make 2 Adepts at a time. 2, followed by 4, followed by 6. Rex is getting into his 3rd. And we're just waiting for that tech, and we have our answer. It's going to be the Stargate. Okay. Bold move here out of Stats, but it's going to be a Stargate opener instead. this tells me that he wants to go for, again, just some light aggression with Adepts and Oracles, maybe confident that he can get damage done, even if he doesn't commit. We'll see. As the first two Adepts are moving out. They're headed for that mineral line. Two Adepts do one-shot drones, bear that in mind. I'm loving the Evo Chamber block here by Rex. Does preserve his units. Does zone away those Adepts. So good defense so far. Behind this, yep, it's going to be an Oracle out of stats. Shouldn't be a surprise here. This should be a triple Oracle opener into a third. Speaking of, there's a third base. Quite a greedy third, to be honest. A little bit earlier than we're used to, but it's going to get up and running, and Rex won't be able to punish it as we do have Adepts in position. So, quite a greedy third here from stats before the first Oracle arrives. And so far, Rex, he is getting away with that gold. So far. So far, so good. And where is this going to lead us? With this base being taken, I imagine it's going to be an all-in out of Rex. I'm just waiting to see when he cuts workers. When does he stop droning? That is what I'm curious about. Also, Shema in the chat. Shema, papi, Shema. Ah. Dzień dobry. Bienvenidos. Going for a bit of a gateway explosion, getting up to 4 gates. Roach Warren has been thrown down. Lings, they do get a surround. Where's the shield battery? Good surround here by Rex. He does get one Adept, going for the second. Doesn't quite get it though. There, we do get an extra warp in. Decent positioning, but one more Adept goes down. Good pickups here by Rex. He's still droning. Looks like he's droning up to at least 55. Three-way saturation is 66 for those curious. It should be a little bit less than that actually with the gold. And I imagine we're going to be pushing on 3 bases. But we'll see. We shall see here. Stats going for a standard follow-up, going into +1 and blink. And if they run into the Lings, they do shave off a couple of them. But we don't quite have enough to threaten the gold base itself. Just clearing up creep. Keeping Rex pinned. And again, so far, Rex has done quite well for himself. Holding on to this gold, minimizing losses. 4th hatchery is on the way. We've yet to determine whether or not the 4th is just for larva or if we're going to be saturating it. I'm curious myself. Meanwhile, Stats is taking up even further. Okay. So Stats, instead of doubling down on mass gateways, he's throwing down a Robo and a Templar Archives. He's working towards Archon, Storm, Immortal production. Stats, he's going for a macro game. He's chilling. Okay, you can have the gold. That's fine. What are you going to do with it? What are you going to do about it? There it is. Storm is now in production. Stats just, yeah, allowing Rex to hold on to his economy here. Has yet to make a drone. Rex, I mean. He droned up to 57 a while ago, and he has still not made an extra worker. Still focusing on Roach production. I'm feeling a 3-way soul in here out of Rex. I'm feeling a timing here with +1 in charge. Like +1 in charge, it's about to finish. Yeah, we're making Lings. We're making Lings behind this instead of workers. That 4th hatchery, as we mentioned, is just for larva. So here we go. We have an all-in being set up here by Rex. Stats, can he hold? Can he survive this? Ooh, as Stats, he's taking a 4th. Now is not the time. He is taking a 4th base, but it's so exposed. And here we go. The all-in from Rex. It has arrived. Moving out, hitting the 4th. Diving on top of the army. Oracles, they dive on those Ravagers. They focus one of them down. But the ground army for Stats, it's barely there. Again, we were teching. We're taking up into a Robo. Storm is about to finish up. Overcharge is popped. We're going for the High Templar. The High Templar exposed. Shield battery goes down. And where is the Storm? It's not there. We get both High Templar. Good snipe here out of Rex. It looks like he's snowballing out of control. He's breaking Stats. Punishing him. Mate, you let me take the gold? You let me take advantage of it? This is what happens. This is what happens with the uncontested gold base. As we're breaking through, Stalkers, they're going down one after the other. Queens have arrived. Stats, he's trying to pump out as many immortals as he can. He does come out with one of them. Good blinks here with his stalkers. Can he survive this? He does bleed out 14 probes. But there's just too many reinforcements. Rex should have enough. He should be able to break through, especially without an overcharge. Yeah, the roaches, they get into the mineral line. They get behind the mineral line even. GG gets called. Rex, he does it. Pulls off the 3-base all-in, and Rex ties up the series 1-1. GG. Bobby, let's go. GG, well played again. Rex, as a reminder, he droned up to 57, did not make a single drone past 57. He only got the 4th base for Larva. It was just for show. And Stats was getting ready for a longer game. Stats, he assumed that the 4th was for saturation. He assumed that Rex was droning. That's a lot of assumptions that were wrong in the end, as Rex was going for an all-in, and Stats gets caught with his pants down. Stats, he was working towards charge, working towards upgrades, working towards Storm alongside Robo and Immortal production, and a 4th base as well. Like, there was just so much tech and so much production on the way. We were skipping warp-ins, skipping the army. That's why Stats was woefully underprepared for that all-in. Wasn't ready for it, didn't see it coming. We have a series. We have a series here. We have a back and forth. Rex achieving more than I think a lot thought. I mean, I did mention before, the predictions were heavily in favor of Stats 2-0ing. Rex pulls off the 1-1. And now we're getting ready for our next best of 2. It's going to be a best of 2 between Nice and uThermal. Now, the thing about uThermal here, outside of the fact that he's a weeb, I love you, Mark, I love you, is that he is competing as a random player. If you've been watching the CranKy Ducklings this past month, you would know that uThermal has been more and more active as of late in online tournaments, in ESL Open Cup Asia, in WTL, of course, in the qualifiers, and uThermal has been competing, and even in the EPT, the EPT Spring qualifiers for DreamHack Dallas. uThermal has been competing in everything as random, not as Terran. Now, what I will say, having casted a lot of uThermal recently, is that his other races are not as strong as his Terran. His Terran is still his best matchup. His Zerg is his worst, and his Protoss is somewhere in the middle. We have seen his Protoss pop off. When it comes to Zerg, I think we've only seen all-ins from uThermal. Whenever he rolls Zerg, it's always like some kind of all-in. Very few, if not any, mass slideshare that we've been. Can I do that again? As we have our game, we're loading in. We have our players spawning in the top bottom left-hand corner. We have Nice for Twisted Fairy, and in the top right, we have his opponent. We have uThermal rolling his Terran for offside. Let's go. We roll the dice and we roll Terran. uThermal, aka the YouTube man, as you can see here on the screen, his main race, his best race is Terran, and he has landed on it. And with that, that's a good start already here for uThermal. Prep Scout is coming in, the workers do come across each other. Now, specifically against uThermal, it's very important to Worker Scout, because otherwise you don't know what race you're up against. So thankfully, Nice does pieces together. He already threw down the pylon, unfortunately, so he's going to be forced to wall off here in the main, instead of walling off the Reaper cliff. But here we go, we are settling into this. We are settling in. SCV comes in, does confirm the pylon placement as well. Is aware that he could potentially take advantage of that cliff, get into the main base, get a scout off. He's now aware of where to look for tech as well. As we are settling on in. Ooh, as that is going to be a double gas opener. Okay. Double gases here from uThermal. Now, what I will say about uThermal, instead of just, general statements about, his races or his state of his race play and how good or how strong they are or how bad they are. What I will say is that uThermal is a very creative player. If you watch his YouTube channel, then you would be familiar with the fact that uThermal, he does try out a lot of different strategies, a lot of unique strategies as well. He's a very fun player to cast because of that. He's very unpredictable. So this double gas opener could lead into anything. I'm not expecting standard play. That's the one thing I'm not expecting. With double gas, this could be for a factory into Reaper Hellion, it could be faster Cyclones, could be a committed Mine Drop, it could be a 1-1-1 into a 1-base all-in. What I will say is that 1-base all-ins are not ideal on Alcyone. This map is very large, long rushes and spike round. All-ins in general struggle here on this map. as we're going for a Reaper into Reactor. Okay. So this could be Reactor Reaper with Hellions support to harass. It's a bit of an old school opener, but it checks out. And Nice is going for his tech of choice, is going for a Stargate opener. Okay. Is going to be a Stargate opener here. Should be for Phoenixes to gain map control. We could go into Oracles, so that's a little bit more niche, but Oracles are definitely still viable here. As we mentioned, as we saw the Reactor on that Rax, it is Reactor Reaper into Hellion. As mentioned, it is a more old school way to open up. With this, you can be very active. The goal of this build is to get an abundance of Reapers and Hellions and to get economic damage done, to go for the mineral line, to get some probe kills. Is going to be the goal for uThermal. Not just that, but also scouting information would be nice as well, as the first adept does get across the map. Trading quite nicely against the Hellion. The Hellion is getting very low, by the way, as the adept does shade into the main, does confirm the 1-1-1, does confirm the add-on here on the Rax. The adept does go down, but did deal a lot of damage to that first Hellion. Yeah, the Hellion is one shot away from going down. And uThermal is moving out. Meanwhile, I said that it was a little bit more niche to go for the Oracle first, and that's exactly what it is. We have an Oracle on the way. Bold move. Bold move out of Nice going for the Oracle, is looking for some economic damage. We'll see if he can get it. Meanwhile, across the map, the Hellion and Reaper is denied entry into the main base. The Oracle shuts it down. Kills one Reaper, the other does slip into the main. Do manage to confirm the follow-up. We do get eyes on gateways. We get eyes on another Oracle, which means we know that there is no Phoenix as Reaper gets shut down. Revelation across the map. We get eyes on the tech lab on the starport. Big scout. That should be for Ravens eventually. Speaking of Ravens, there it is. We do have interference matrix being researched. We do know. So it's been a pretty back and forth start here to the game. Has been pretty back and forth. Reaper gets across the map. We do get a kill on the probe. We do delay the third. Nicely done. And I'm waiting to see the follow-up here from uThermal. Oh, actually still being active with his Hellions. He could get into a mineral line. He's going for it. He's going for the natural. There is a shield battery, but no Stalkers in position. Reaper into the main base. Hellion into the natural. And we are getting some probe kills. 3 probes go down. A good start. Bearing in mind that Hellions do not scale well into the mid-game. So we want to trade as best we can with them. So we managed to get 3 workers. But only 3. Back at home, uThermal is getting into tank production. Interesting choice, as he knows it's not Blink Stalkers. So interesting to go into tanks from here. Building up Marines. We have a safety amount of... Well, we have a safety Viking and Cyclone to defend. And uThermal is going to be contained here to 2 bases for the near future, at least until Stim finishes. uThermal is stuck at home, and Nice is taking advantage of that 3rd base. Is probing, is teching, sending a couple units towards the main. Tank is in position. A big volley is going to be going off. We don't quite get the Stalker. We do get some hull damage. Meanwhile, Phoenixes, they get into the main base, they go for the Cyclone. They go for it, the Cyclone, it will go down. Likewise, the Phoenixes barely do survive as well, but as we dive deeper into the bases. We dive deeper into that, we got 5 SCV kills. And the Phoenixes, they do survive, they take down the Viking. Very nice control out of Nice, doesn't lose anything. Didn't lose a single Phoenix, didn't lose a single Oracle. He gets 7 worker kills, Cyclone, and a Viking. Very efficient trade here by the Protoss. Very efficient. Again, uThermal just out of position with his Marines. Trying to go for some counter damage across the map. He gets 1 probe and 1 Stalker. That's something for energy. Not bad. As Raven comes back in. But it's a one-way trip. The Raven's going to go down. This is an expensive loss here for uThermal. Oof. Losing a Raven for, again, 1 probe and 1 Stalker. Not worth it. And interesting. Nice, our Protoss player, he's going for a +1 attack. Meanwhile, we're pulling the boys. It's a 2-base all in. There is no 3rd TC. This makes sense. Based on the losses here from uThermal, it's been a rough start. It has to be an all-in. Did you get the revelation? But do we have anything to defend? Do we have any splash damage? Charge is about to finish. And nice, he may have to just give up on the third. It's all or nothing for uThermal. Charge ult's on the way. Shield battery's ready. We have an overcharge. How good are the mine shots going to be? Tank is getting in position. Tank till siege. Good positioning here for uThermal. Throws out the eBay. Zones the army away. Shield battery goes down. That's a wasted overcharge. Zelta coming from behind, and they force a bit of friendly fire, but the tank does survive. Yeah, and this third base is going to go down. And again, we do not have an overcharge for the natural. And uThermal, he can keep pushing. He has to keep pushing. We're still all in. We tap on the army. Tank goes down. Widowmines, they were repositioning. No mine shots here whatsoever. The Zelta wreak havoc. They mow through the Marines. GG gets called. uThermal gets cleaned up, and Nice takes a 1-0 lead. GG. GG, well played. Again, Nice just had a beautiful start to the game, was pulling uThermal apart. He was able to just wreak havoc with his Oracle Harass, with his Feast Harass. Likewise, the Hellion Reaper did not do enough either. Remember, it was an initial build that had to get some economic damage done. It killed 3 probes, only 3 workers, if I remember correctly. Alas, needs to get a little bit more done, especially with what happened in the aftermath as well. And in the end, uThermal was forced into an all-in, took too many losses, too much of a deficit. And Nice, he was able to scout ahead of time, was able to scout. And thankfully, Nice took a much more kind of mature approach to it. Did not try to save the third. The overcharge was premature. Side Delta, one of the... some of it has been overlapping, unfortunately. But, I mean, there's nothing wrong with too much StarCrafters. Here we go, we're getting into our next game. In the top left, we have Nice. In the bottom right, we have uThermal for Offside. Let's go. Hold on. Exclamation mark, shout out. There we go. And we mentioned before, but if you're just tuning in, uThermal, he is, of course, competing as random. Game 1, uThermal rolled as Terran, but now we land on Zerg. Oh boy. And now I'm a little bit concerned, but I'm also excited. We spoke about this in the lead up to this series about how uThermal, his strongest race is still his Terran, his weakest race is his Zerg. So this is less than ideal, but at the same time, whenever we cast uThermal as a Zerg player, it's always an all-in. He's always got some kind of cheese, some kind of all-in up his sleeve. It's going to be a gas first build. Gas first by uThermal. Speaking of cheese, this does allow him to get into fast link speed, does allow him to get into a fast lair as well. Oh boy, what are we going to do with this gas as Nice is coming in with a probe scout? Nice does not know what race he's up against, but now will confirm the Zerg. And he also confirms the timing of the gas, the timing of the spawning pool. Nice is aware of the opener here of uThermal. And we have seen uThermal fall in love with 2-base Hydra. We've seen a lot of 2-base Hydra play here out of uThermal, and this could be the beginnings of it. Otherwise, it could just be a Ling Bane bust. Could be an all-in. We'll wait and see what uThermal does with his gas, as he is about to hit that first 100. Hatchery's on the way. Is investing into a handful of Lings here. Does have 100 gas, and there it is. Link speed is on the way. Looking at his main base, he has not pulled out of the gas geyser. Very important, which does mean that this could be a Bane bust. Could be a Ling Flood into a Bane bust, as we do have enough resources for that Baneling Nest, and we're not going for it. Interesting. No Baneling Nest here out of uThermal. This could be for a Roach Warren, but we would have already seen a Roach Warren by now, so I'm feeling a lair. I'm feeling a lair out of uThermal. Probe comes back in. Probe, it confirms no Baneling Nest, confirms continued gas mining. Big scout there by Nice, and there's the lair on the way. This looks like 2-base Hydra. So Ling speed into 2-base Hydra. Again, Nice did confirm it's not a Bane bust, so we see him cancel the wall. Does have a safety shield battery on the way. Nice taking this very seriously. Actually, my apologies. With his fast lair, Drop a Lord. We're going for Drop a Lords, of course. My apologies. I forgot he does this. Drop a Lord should be on the way here for uThermal. His Overlords are getting in position. Lair is about to finish. So it is going to be a Ling Flood with Drop a Lords into the main base. Let's go. So again, I do apologize. When I saw the lair, my brain was like, oh, the Hydras are coming. I just wanted the Hydras, Fabi. I just wanted them. Feels bad, man. We're not going to get them. As things are moving out, we're still waiting for that lair to finish. Still waiting for that moment. Lings have been scouted by that hallucination. Lair is now done, and the Dropper Lords are upon us. But nice, he's checking! No shot, he checks the main base. He does come across the Dropper Lords, and he will deny them. He will force at least one of them back. There's that Hydra we spoke about. Oh, with best of two worlds. So it's a Ling Flood into a Ling Drop into 2-base Hydra. So my initial read was still there. It is still 2-base Hydra. Unfortunately, the drops are denied. uThermal, the Lings, they don't quite pay for themselves. This is brutal. Again, all these Lings, they could have been drones. They could have been better saturation. The Lings, they have not paid for themselves yet. Hydrogen is finishing. We're getting there. uThermal still droning. And this is a rough position for uThermal, just because Hydras are quite expensive, and ideally we would have liked to have dealt some economic damage to Nice. Nice has been happily chilling here on 2 bases. And we're getting to additional gateways, Robo's on the way, +1 attack as well. Read from the caster was correct, just needed the player's attempt to be stuffed. Ah, Smoge. Feels bad, man, feels bad. Regardless, we're getting there, and I have to favor Nice here. I mean, he's taking up into a fast bay or into 2-base Colossus production. Okay, I'm assuming it's Colossi, it could be Disruptors. Wait, what? As uThermal, he's going from 2-base Hydra into a 2-base Spire? Mutas? Oh, this is crazy. I mean, I guess you have to do something crazy in this position. What I'm concerned about here is that we've already spent a lot of gas on Hydras, on Hydra upgrades as well. Hallucination comes in, and Nice, he sees everything, including the Spire. Oh my god. And there we go, we do force a cancel. The Spire is cancelled, we throw down a Roach Warren instead. uThermal taking in whatever direction he can. Again, he respects Nice enough to cancel the Spire as well, once he got scouted, and we'll see how uThermal can piece this all together. It's a bit of a Frankenstein of a build from him, but I mean, I want to believe that it can still work, especially if Nice is too greedy. That's the caveat here. If Nice is too greedy, if he probes up too much, if he focuses too much on his economy, if he takes up too quickly as well, then uThermal can take advantage of him. He can still bring this together. This is a YouTube clip, 80 build. Yeah, of course, mate. It's content first for uThermal, okay? But for the YouTube, man, it's all about the content, papi. Let's go. As we are pushing back at home, Nice. He's building up on 3 bases. Shield batteries are finishing up just in time. We do have some force fields. We do have force fields available. uThermal, he doesn't quite commit. He pulls back. Does pull back for a moment. Is droning up behind this as well. uThermal, he's not all in. Bear that in mind. Trying to go for the Nexus, but Elastic Colossus does arrive, and he's forcing back the army. And uThermal will be forced back. Now, if you're just tuning in from the raid, I do apologize if you do see if you do see basically a slideshow here. If you're curious, we are casting from a clean feed. We are not in the game, and the clean feed itself is having some trouble connecting to us, unfortunately. Not just us, but to all the other streamers out there. It's ourselves, it's Wardy, and I think some other language casters, and we're all casting from the same clean feed, and unfortunately, the connection is a little bit unstable. That's why you can see, you know, some basically like a slideshow, some frame shopping. Everything's okay on our end. It is just a connection from the clean feed. So I do apologize for that. There's just nothing that we can really do. The Chinese broadcasters, they already restarted their PCs. Like, they restarted their stream to try to help. Unfortunately, it didn't help. And at this, what else can they do as well, right? So, yeah, it is unfortunate. But regardless, still some amazing games are ahead of us. And here we go, uThermal. Going to be threatening with roaches on the ground. Going to be distracting Nice here at the 3rd base. At the same time, going for a big Doom drop into the main. Nice, he's not in position. And he doesn't have enough for a recall. Drop is getting in. We have potential to get damage done. And probes are going down. We deny mining in the main. At the same time, roaches are looking for a pickoff here on the front lines as well. As the roaches, they threaten that natural. They waddle into the mineral line. They head for the natural base as well. So far, only 5 worker kills. We do have a Colossi getting into the main. Hydras are getting shut down. Ooh, we do focus down the drop as well as uThermal going for a tri-pronged attack. We have roaches in the natural, Hydras in the main base, and Hydras at the third as well. And he is getting damage done, but is it enough? It's going to be 18 worker kills. Burrow has completed. We do keep a couple of roaches alive, but we also bleed out a lot as well. Now, what I'm worried about here is that this might trigger a counterattack from Nice once he does clean this up. But again, do we have detection? We get on top of the army. The Immortal. Big pick off. The Immortal goes down. Very nicely done here by uThermal. Gets the Immortal, gets an Archon. Is pushing forward, but alas, he's running out of roaches. At the same time, he unburrows in the natural, getting more probe kills. Probes are going down. And behind this, uThermal is on 4 hatcheries. He's on a decent drone count. It's not amazing. He's on sub 3 base saturation, which is concerning. Only 55 drones. uThermal's pretty all in. He's pretty all in here. He needs to do more than just kill probes. He has to kill Nice. And uThermal, he does have the supply lead, but that is inflated supply. Roaches, they're burrowing into the natural. Unscouted, by the way. Nice, he doesn't see, he doesn't know, he's not in position. We're getting into the main. More probes are going down. Nice is getting pulled apart. And despite the chaotic start, remember, the lane drop did nothing, by the way. The lane drop did nothing. The 2-base Hydra did nothing. The Spire got scattered on 2 bases as well. Things were looking dire for uThermal. And even initially in this harassment here, I wasn't fully convinced. But he's getting so much done. Another 12 probes go down. Nice, he just cannot keep up. Gets the Overlords. Gets on top of these roaches. Detection has finally arrived. We have an observer. uThermal, he hasn't killed Nice yet. Colossi, they are in position. Roaches, they try to dive on top of them, but they do pull back to the safety. The shield batteries. Yeah, 2 shield batteries in position to support. A cannon as well. Yeah, and uThermal, he does overextend. He bleeds out too many roaches. And uThermal, he's in trouble. He is in trouble. I spoke earlier, if uThermal throws away too much, then he is vulnerable to a counterattack. And speaking of, I believe Nice is going for that counterattack. He's pushing out. He is pushing out. We can see uThermal trying to go for a drop across the map, but alas, Nice is pushing right through the center, catches Overlords. And uThermal, he just can't spend his resources. He can't spend his minerals. He's got almost 2,000 minerals. Oh my god. An insane mineral bank. But the gases, that's what we're lacking. We can't quite spend our money. You can see that we're not fully saturated at the third when it comes to gases. And no gas saturation at the fourth either. Just making as many roaches as possible. And we're bleeding out roaches as well. Rough losses here for uThermal. He's going to try to burrow away. Going for more dropper lords. Investing more gas. But that drop did at least keep Nice busy. Nice is still at home. Still has not pushed. And I think that's the goal here for uThermal, is to try to keep Nice busy while he can stabilize. As he's moving out once again. We do have, I believe, a dropper lord in the main. Nice attempting to take a 4th base. The drop in the main base is denied. We do catch an Immortal. Big pick off. Immortal goes down once again. Very nicely done. At the same time, we have roaches hitting that 4th, but we do have an Immortal to defend. Oh, and uThermal, are we bleeding? Are we throwing away too much here? Yeah, we have units in position. Nice, he's spread out between all 4 of his bases, and he is shutting down these roaches. The diminishing returns are real here. Initially, uThermal was doing well, but he's throwing away too much, but it looks like he should deny the 4th. Gets an Immortal. I spoke too soon. Yeah, nice, he wasn't too far away. He cleans up these roaches. And now uThermal, now he's able to spend his resources, but he's also running out of army. uThermal is burning through his bank. Hydra's on the way, so getting back into a Hydra Roach, or Roach Hydra. But Nice has momentum. Nice has momentum on his side. And he catches the roaches. I'm still waiting for the moment when Nice goes for a counterattack. He still has yet to do so. He's still building up. Again, just the non-stop roach aggression. It just keeps dragging him back home. He forces a recall. So on the one hand, we're buying time, but the reality is that Nice has a better economy. The reality is that even with all these probe losses, Nice, he has a better economy, has better income, has a larger army as well, because we're throwing away far too many roaches. And back at home, what do we have? Sure, we have a couple of Hydras, but, I mean, Colossi, they're ideal against them. No lurkers. No lurkers, no hive tech. No economy, no nothing. And Nice, he's finally breaking free, despite the chaotic nature of this game, despite the back and forth we had earlier. Nice, he's finally across the map. Now remember, he just recalled, so recall is on cooldown. And I was gonna say we may as well commit to the base trade, but okay, yeah, he's committing. Nice, he kills the third, he's going for the fourth. He should kill these bases, but a base trade is maybe the best chance here for uThermal. Can he pull this off? As more bases are falling, boys are being pulled. Trying to get on top of those Colossi. One of them is getting low, but alas, it's gonna survive. Will it? Oh, does go down. Good pickup. We do get a Colossus, we do get a Sudus around here on these Stalkers, but we do blink away. Nice, he does escape. And he kills 24 workers. And back at home, Nice, what did he lose? He only lost the fourth. And the storm is done. Big storms on the army. GG gets called. uThermal, he runs out of steam. And Nice will take the series 2-0. GG. Nice, able to flex his skill here against the Terran and Zerg of uThermal. And he does take a 2-0 lead for himself. Does take a 3-1 advantage for his team for Twisted Fairy. GG, well played. Again, Nice was coming in as the favorite player. I was looking forward to the builds of uThermal, and mate, uThermal, he was cooking with his Zerg. He was cooking there in that second game. Game 1 was a little more standard when it came to the opener, and Nice had a much more comfortable time there as a result, at least in the opener. And yeah, we were forced into an all-in there on Alcyone. Last Nice able to shut him down. Here in game number 2, we saw uThermal wreak a lot of havoc. I was very impressed, by the way. Despite the start of the game where uThermal stumbled, he was able to pull Nice apart, did an amazing job dealing economic damage to Nice, even picking off some high-tech units. But over time, we saw that Nice's army was getting bigger and bigger, and uThermal was dealing less and less damage with his harassment. Again, over time, did less. There was some diminishing returns there with the harass, and eventually Nice was able to overwhelm, and Nice was able to snowball out of control. GG. GG, well played. We also saw, like, arguably, again, like, some lack of gas income or lack of saturation there, or efficient mining from uThermal. Maybe that's a better way of putting it. Because he had just so many minerals and so little gas to work with. You could argue that maybe he should have been reinforcing with links to make use of that, or droning. Droning maybe would have been a better answer there, but regardless, GG. GG, well played. Now we're getting ready for the final best of 2 of this series, a PvP between Classic and Firefly. Let's go. Classic and Firefly are going to be facing off here, and this is going to be a wild one. So Classic is coming in as the favorite player, but Firefly regularly causes upsets. Firefly, he's an amazing player. He's the ace player of OFFSYDE. If anyone's going to bring it back for his team, it's going to be Firefly. It is going to be Firefly. Again, he is their strongest player, and he has been the rising star of 2023. Again, he's been looking so damn good, not just in his own region, but in online tournaments. Firefly even qualified for IM Katowice. He was a part of that offline event, was able to travel there and compete, and it's been amazing to see Firefly improve over the past couple of years. He has really shot up in skill, and it's been amazing to see his rate of progression. I've become a fan. Straight up, I have become a Firefly fan. So many people have been able to get behind him, and we'll see if he can bring it back for his team. It's not going to be easy. Not in the best of 2. Let's go. I believe he can take a game, but a series, that's something else. And here we go, spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have Classic for Twisted Fairy. And in the bottom left, we have his opponent. We have Firefly for Offside. Let's go. Let us go. Firefly the goat. Let us go. I mean, again, I believe in the 1-1 score, but you need more than a 1-1. Firefly, he needs to 2-0 Classic here and now to force an ace match. That's not going to be easy here. It is going to be an uphill battle for Firefly, but not impossible. Not impossible. Again, he's taken down players of the caliber of Classic before, but those are usually in best of 3s, not in best of 2s. Best PowerPoint I've seen in a while. Let's go. Let's go, Baki. I'm hoping you've seen a lot of PowerPoints recently. I'm hoping. As we're getting into our builds, it is going to be interesting. A double gas openers here all around. It is going to be a gate expand from both Firefly and Classic. With these faster gases, we could go for a Stargate. That is true. We could try and go for a Stargate before expand, but Nexus should be on the way. Here we go, as really it's going to be on both players to delay the opposing player's expansion for as long as possible. We have probes across the map. We should be going for pylon blocks. We should be being as much of a nuisance as possible. And based on the double gas openers, this should be leading into a Stargate first. There it is, Stargate from Firefly. We should be seeing a Stargate from Classic alongside this. And if both players open up Stargate, that should be leading into Phoenix Wars. And there it is, Stargate from Classic, Stargate from Firefly. Delayed expansions, Phoenix Wars are on the horizon. Oh boy, let's go. Now both players have scouted each other, so both players are fully aware that each other is going for a Stargate. That should trigger Phoenixes, and that should lead into non-stop Phoenix aggression. I say should. There is a world where some players try to pivot away, some players try to go into Blink Stalkers and try to transition out of it. It is very risky and very difficult to transition out of Phoenixes. We'll see if either player tries, as the first Phoenix is being built. Phoenix Wars, they have begun, at least from Firefly. Classic going for an Oracle first. Okay, let's go. We're not making Phoenixes. It's not happening. I mean, it is for Firefly at least, and he's going to be able to shut down that Oracle. But clearly, Classic does not want to get trapped into a Phoenix battle. Clearly, Classic wants to try to deviate and head elsewhere. Thankfully. And there it is. There's the Twilight Council. So we spoke about it. We spoke about how there are some players that try to transition into Blink Stalkers. It looks like that's the plan for Classic. We'll see if he can get there. We'll see if he can get away with it. Adept does shade in, but the Phoenixes are in position to deny it. We do shut the Adept down. Meanwhile, across the map, Firefly does slip in. Does manage to slip in. Big Scout does confirm that there are no Phoenixes being built. Oracle reveals itself. Ooh, and we managed to get a lot of damage done. That is going to be 6 probe kills. Very impressive. Very nice damage here from Classic. And now he's chronoing out Blink. Now, before we can get to a critical mass amount of Blink Stalkers, Firefly has control. He has control of the map. He's moving out with his Phoenixes, and he can get some economic damage done. As he does catch a probe. But you can see Firefly, he's out of energy. Doesn't have a lot to work with. Does confirm that Blink is on the horizon. But yeah, you can see here, he just can't do anything here. He has to wait a little bit longer to gather up energy for a lift. And he has one. We go for the recall, and it looks like we do manage to break that lift, forcing a second lift instead. Oh, we did have a third available. We do reset the Stalker count, but we don't have any lifts left here to clean up any probes. And it's quite expensive energy-wise to pick up these workers. Another Phoenix is on the way. We can see Firefly getting to Immortal production. It makes sense. He will have a deficit when it comes to Blink Stalkers, so we need Immortals to make up for that. Immortals are on the way. As we're just camping the mineral line, we get 2 more probes. Soon to be 3. Meanwhile, Classic is making an Oracle. Bold move. Right under those Phoenixes. Just have the Oracle on the way. Meanwhile, Classic setting up a proxy across the map, going and setting up for a counterattack. Uh-oh. His gateways are finishing. He's going for 4 Stalkers at a time. And do we have enough lifts? If we kill probes, we won't have anything to defend. He's going for the probes. Uh-oh. I mean, Firefly, he's getting a lot of economic damage done, but what about the ground army? Here come the Stalkers. We catch an Immortal. Trading 2 for 1. Before we bleed out a 3rd Stalker. And here come the Phoenixes just in time. We shut down the Stalkers one after the other. We do have enough energy. We barely did have enough lifts. Do you lift, Papi? Firefly does. How much can he bench? 3 Stalkers. Ah, he's swole. And here we go. He does get eyes on the proxy. Is pushing forward. Warpin does finish though. There we go. We blink on forward. We dive on top of the Prism. Prism goes down. The Classic is bleeding out a lot of Stalkers. Does get the Immortal, but this proxy is going to be shut down. Take down the pylon. Shut down the proxy. Classic, how do we bounce back? He's going for the gold. We're rushing into the gold base instead. Firefly taking a standard third on his side of the map. And we'll see if Firefly can punish this gold. Does get eyes on it. Is moving out. Doesn't have an Immortal yet. It's on the way. With the help of these Phoenixes, he's doing well though. Gets the Oracle, lifts up some Stalkers. The Immortal has arrived. And with the help of this Immortal, do we have enough? It looks like we do. Yeah, Firefly, he's breaking on through. We do force the offensive blink. But Classic, he loses everything. GG gets caught, he gets shut down, and Firefly takes game number 1. Can he force the ace match? Let's find out. As we're diving into game number 2 and spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have Firefly for Twisted Fairy. Sorry, Firefly for Offside. In top left, we have Classic for Twisted Fairy. Ooh, looks like the clean feed is struggling a little bit more than before. Aye. Hopefully we can bring it back. We're okay, Papa. We're okay. We're still in this. We're almost done for the night, WTL. Stick with us. Stick with us, Papa. As we load into Oceanborn, this should be a 2-gate opener. We should not have these economic greedy builds of going for a gate expand like we saw previously. We should be having a 2-gate into a more standard PvP. And I'm sure Classic is a lot more comfortable on a map like Oceanborn when it comes to 2-gate play. So we are going to have more of a back and forth, and it is highly unlikely that we get into Phoenix Wars here in this position. Very unlikely. So we are settling into this. Nice carrying Twisted Fairy. He is. Not going to lie. So far he is. I mean, again, Classic is the strongest player on Twisted Fairy. I would say that. But he's also up against the ace player of Offside, right? Like, if there were any player to cause an upset into 2-0, it would be Firefly. Like, 100%. He would be the one to do it. He is the strongest player on his team for a reason. Because he's been able to go to toe and take it to the best players in Korea for quite some time now. Again, if you've been watching the ESL Open Cup Asias, for example, or Kung Fu Cups, or all these online events, especially the Korean-focused ones, then you would have seen the rise of Firefly over the past year. And we'll see how this settles, as Firefly is the first to expand, and Classic is going to be teching instead. Okay, So Firefly is going for a faster Nexus, Classic is going for a Stargate before Expand. This should be for Oracles. This should be for Oracle production here to harass across the map. Basically, the dynamic is that Classic is going to be looking for some worker kills to catch up. Firefly has to defend. It's going to be on Firefly to keep up. We have our take of choice going for a Robo Opener. Very defensive here out of Firefly. I appreciate it. Very defensive play here from our Red Protoss. Reason why I say that, of all the techs that you could go for, where you have a Stargate for Oracles or for Phoenixes, or a Twilight Council for Blink, going for a Robo Opener does give you access to faster Immortals and does allow you to be very secure and defensive here on 2 bases. It's a much slower way to open up. It does mean that Firefly is going to be relinquishing map control, but he makes up for that with a secure 2-base setup. As this should be for Immortal production, I imagine. Meanwhile, Adept shades into the main. Oracle dives in as well. We do have Adepts in, we do have sentries in position, but alas, there's just too much going on. 4 probes go down. Very good harass there from Classic. Gets 4 workers, does back up. Alas, sentries they had to deal with the Adept first, followed by the Oracle. And Classic going for a gateway across the map. That's 3 gates on the way. Uh-oh. That's a lot. That is going to be 4 gates in total. 4 gate blink here from Classic. And Firefly has no idea. We need a hallucination scout here from Firefly soon. Going for a prism first. This should be to harass with Adepts. Speaking of Adepts, they're getting into the natural. Firefly does get across the map, gets 1 probe. Gets 2 even. With the help of the War Prism, he should be able to get the Adepts into the main. Should be able to ferry them in. Meanwhile, Classic going for a Phoenix. That should be able to shut down the Prism as well. The Prism does threaten the main. Going to be pulling back. Yeah, Phoenix has arrived, and the Phoenix will shut down the War Prism. Does force a recall. As the Adepts do shade into the natural, and we're focusing down a lot of probes. It's going to be 3. 3 probes go down. We can see the Firefly, he has not commenced Immortal production. He's going for a Twilight Council instead. This is dangerous. He does need an Immortal. The reason why I say this is because Classic does have a gateway lead, and he has a massive timing where he has Blink, and Firefly doesn't. And there we go, Immortal's on the way. The Immortal was delayed, which is scary, and he needs that Immortal as soon as possible to survive against this push. Or to survive against the aggression of Classic. Here we go. Classic is pushing in. We dive into the main. We go for the main base. We go for the pylon as well. That is Nartosis pylon, by the way. Oh, and it doesn't go down. Oh my god. We do survive the shield battery, putting in some work there. And Firefly holds. I feel like that pylon should not be alive right now, but Firefly does hold on. Nothing gets depowered, and the Immortal has arrived. Firefly does get through the worst of it. He's going to be chasing this back. He can juggle, of course, with his War Prism. He has defensive Blink. And with that, he forces Classic to back the hell off. 3rd base is on the way. Very impressive here by Firefly. Back at home, Classic is transitioning into a gateway explosion, a 3rd base of his own, and of course, charge. Firefly, he can now move out. Now he has Blink of his own, as it's finishing up in a couple of seconds. Here we go, we are moving out. Classic is ready for this though. Did have an extra warp in. We do get the Oracle and the Phoenix. Good pickoffs by Firefly. Does have the Immortal as well. Force fields will zone it away. And Firefly does have to pull back. Boys are being pulled as well. 2nd Immortal has arrived. And Firefly, does he have too much? Does he have enough? Firefly is so close to breaking his opponent. Where's the shield battery? Where's the overcharge? It's not here. It's not here in time. No stack defense from Classic, but the Zealots, they add a lot of health. They added so much buffer here for the army. The Prism juggling as best we can. We do save the Immortals. We save the Immortals, and Firefly, he does it. He breaks on through. And Classic, he has almost nothing left. The Immortal somehow survives. One of them goes down, two of them go down. But it doesn't matter. It's too little too late. Firefly, he has done it. He's broken the third. Classic, there's no saving it. There's no holding on. Again, we've seen Classic take down these players in best of threes, but he does it in a best of two. GG gets called, and Firefly forces the ace match. GG. Oh my god. Bappy. Let's go. GG, well played. Again, Firefly, the ace player for OFFSYDE. He does it. He does force the ace match. Takes down Classic 2-0. And we find ourselves in Game 7 in the final game of this series. Oh boy, let's go. And I feel like there is only one answer. There's only one answer here. Who are the ace players going to be? It has to be Firefly. Firefly, he is the obvious answer for OFFSYDE to come out as the ace. The question becomes, though, who do we field for Twisted Fairy? Who do we send out? It is a team of Protoss, by the way. It's pure Protoss. Stats, nice, and classic. I don't think there's a wrong answer, to be honest. I feel like a lot of it depends on the map, because Stats, nice, and classic, they all have different playstyles. They all have different playstyles. Classic is more aggressive, Stats is more macro-oriented, and nice is a mix of both. The final map is Crimson Court. Okay, interesting. So on the one hand, I do think that Crimson Court is a good macro map, especially when it comes to expanding on these fringe bases. You can extend the game and go longer. Rush distance by ground on the main attack path is very straightforward. I'm curious how Blink works on this map. We do have a lot of layers of rocks and a lot of layers of mineral patches. I'm not sure if Blink Stalkers can actually blink over them, or if it's too wide, too much of a gap. That could influence things, could influence how aggressive we want it to be on Crimson Court as well. It's a tough one to ask. Part of me feels maybe Stats. Part of me feels if we wanted to, instead of being aggressive like Classic has been and struggling against Firefly, if we wanted to go for a longer macro game, I feel like Stats would be a good answer to that. Stats would be a good solution, but we'll see. We'll see. Likewise, Nice has been on fire. Nice did 2-0 uThermal. I'm sure Nice is feeling confident, but I do favor Firefly over Nice in general. Like, it's a tough decision to make. But the upside for Twisted Fairy is that Firefly is an obvious choice, so they can prepare for a snipe, right? Like, they can choose their player specifically for Firefly, and there it is! We did mention it. Firefly is going to be the ace player, and Stats will be the ace player from Twisted Fairy. We kind of worked through it mentally here about how Classic is more of an aggressive Protoss player, and if the aggression isn't working, time to turtle up, time to macro up into the mid game, into more of a later PvP. Stats does make sense here. Is he going to be able to keep up with Firefly though? Is he the answer to the problem that is Firefly? Here we go. Here we go. And if you're in the chat, predictions are open. Place your bets. It all comes down to one game. This is a best of one. Best of one here on a Crimson Court. Good luck, Pappy. Good luck. Firefly is the Giga Chat of WTL. He is. Firefly, he's taken down some big names in WTL. Rainer who? Maru who? Hey, Firefly doesn't care. Doesn't care who you are. Doesn't care if you're the best Terran, the best Protoss, or the best Zerg player. He will take maps off of you in WTL. That's just who Firefly is. And here we go. We're getting ready for that final game. Stats is the most reliable. I mean, I would just emphasize the fact that, again, Stats and Classic just have different approaches to PvP. And I do think that Stats is kind of like the yin to the yang that is Classic. Personally, I would say that Stats is like the yin to the yang to Hero, like Stats and Hero in Korea. But Classic is very similar to Hero in his playstyle, is very aggressive in general in every single matchup. Classic and Hero, they're cut from a very similar cloth. So I do like this choice here in general. And we'll see. We shall see. Cyril is the goat. Oh, get in line, Bobby. Get in line. Make way for Firefly, Bobby. But here we go. It looks like we have our game, and we are loading on in. Sporting in the bottom left-hand corner, we have stats for Twisted Fairy. And in the top right, we have Firefly for Offside. This is it. It all comes down to this. The Ace match. Game 7 of this best of 7 Code A match. The winner will advance on into the upper bracket finals to face off against Berserker. The loser goes down to the lower bracket, where their life will be on the line. Their tournament life would be on the line, as those are where the elimination matches are held. Here we go. Here we go. I'm also double checking. I remember Firefly taking down Raynor. Did Firefly take down Cyril as well last season? Did that happen? Or the season before that? I know Firefly was popping off against the Zerg players in the last season of WTL. I would need to look that up. Yep, I just double checked. I was like, did I dream of Firefly beating Cyril? I did not. Oh, I mean, maybe I did, but that was also the reality. For those of you that maybe don't watch the CranKy Ducklings, or if you don't watch WTL, then you would know that Firefly did beat Cyril last season. Like, again, that's what I mean. There's something about WTL, and to be fair, I should talk about the format. One of the big reasons why Firefly has beaten players like Cyril and Maru and stuff like that is because it is loser's pick, and usually when Firefly is able to bring down some of these big names, it is because he might lose game 1, but game 2 he's able to pick his map and come in with a very specialized and prepared build. Like, WTL is unique in that way, where it favors preparation, because if you take a loss, you can predetermine and be ready for what that second map does entail. And that is kind of the speciality of Firefly, and the speciality of Starving Camels, like, coming into 2023. As here we go, we're settling on in. We do have Firefly opening up with a Robo. Very safe opener here out of Firefly. Can lead into a 1-base all-in, depending on how many gateways we work with. As it looks like Firefly is expanding. Okay. So just very safe play here from Firefly, going for a Robo into expand. Meanwhile, Stats just going straight for the Nexus. 1-1 versus Cyril, yeah. I remember, Papi, I remember. But he's crazy, Papi, he's crazy. Oh, now, basically, with this Robo-based opener, we can go into fast immortal production once again. We can go for a War Prism early on to harass. We do have options here, depending on how Firefly wants to play this out. And there it is, immortal first. Okay, so we're going to be working with a very fast, very large immortal count early on for Firefly. We'll see how we can make use of it, as Stats back across the map is just taking up himself, getting into his own Robo production. Very wise choice here out of Stats. Upon seeing the immortals of his opponent, it should be wise to get into her own immortals as well. War Prism is on the way first. Now, I'm really torn about how Firefly is playing this out. Going for a Robo opener like this is ideal against an all-in, is ideal against aggression. So it looks like he was reading that out of Stats, and because of that, it may end up falling behind tech-wise if Stats does head on further in towards Blink Stalkers, for example. But we'll see, because we have pretty similar builds overall. Meanwhile, there's a Twilight Council on the way from Firefly, so he is not going for a 1-base all-in. Firefly, he may apply some pressure, but based on the tech here, does want to go for a longer game. Meanwhile, Stats, he's poised to go for an Adept drop into the main. Okay, so we have Adepts. 2 Adepts do one-shot workers, so this Adept drop is quite deadly here as we make our way towards the main base. Meanwhile, Firefly, he's going for an Immortal drop across the map instead. which can get some damage done, but is a lot more risky, as it is a very valuable drop there moving out. A lot of resources invested. Adepts, they do slip in. And probes are going down. We get one, we get two. We get three as well. Late reaction there out of Firefly. He's focusing across the map instead. Going for the drop, but we have plenty in position. Firefly is deflected, and he does end up losing 3 probes, even 4 probes. Oof. So a good start from Stats. He does take a worker lead. Firefly rotates around. He's headed for the natural, and he can force field the ramp. Very nicely done. Does get the force field. The Immortal does take a couple of hits. I believe we have a second force field available as well. There it is. We do lock the army out. And Adepts, they get into the middle line as well. Very good positioning here out of Firefly. And he does wreak havoc. He does get so many probe kills. 5, almost 6 probes going down. Can we get 7? Not quite. 6 worker kills. Very nice counterattack out of Firefly. Again, able to outposition Stats. Stats, he couldn't recall back to the natural. Didn't have the energy for it. And Firefly, as he harasses, is taking a third. And Firefly, he finds himself with a lead. Blink is pretty mirrored here with each other, so similar blink timings. Firefly keeps the Immortal alive, the Prism alive, faster third base. And Stats, he throws down 2 more gateways instead. Interesting. Very interesting. We're going for 2 more gateways here. I'm curious if Stats decides to double down. We'll see, going for a double Immortal drop into the main base. Gets a couple of workers. Very nicely done. Gets 3. A blink isn't done. We should be able to hold our own. Yeah, we do pick up and get the hell out of there. So Stats, he is bouncing back. And Stats has yet to throw down a third base. Uh-oh. And I don't think we plan to. Yep, 2 base all in. We're pushing. Stats is pushing. Okay, there's the third base behind it. Does have a contingency plan. But he's going to be applying pressure to the third. And can he break through? Can he break this third base? Yeah, we're going for a warp in to reinforce. Firefly's in position. Does have the shield battery. Gets a Stalker. Does have the overcharge as well. And Firefly, he's fine. He holds. He will hold on. Adepts, though, they shade into the natural. And pulling the attention of Firefly apart. And we do get 3 probe kills and a lot of lost mining time. Very nicely done here by Stats. Does delay the mining, does delay the economy here for Firefly. 5 probe kills. Ooh, that is not insignificant. As Stats, he does rotate in between the bases. But again, Firefly is in position. Remember, Firefly did have the faster third base, so the pressure was on Stats to get economic damage done, and he did. And we dive in the army. The Immortal is late to respond. Good force fields as well. And Stats, he zones Firefly away from his own natural. The natural is under fire. Boys are being pulled as well. And Firefly, he's in trouble. Having a hard time engaging. A lot of Stalkers not even fighting there. Yeah, the positioning was too good. The force fields are too good. And Stats, he's overwhelming Firefly. Dives on top of the army. Gets the Immortal as well. And he gets 16 probe kills. GG gets called in. 1 swift move. Stats, he does take the game. And he will take the series 4-3 for Twisted Minds. Whew. GG, well played. Again, he was able to outposition in the end. Very nicely done out of Stats. Able to wedge his way in between the bases. Able to outposition. Able to throw down those force fields. And Firefly just could not deal with that army. Could not engage. Not like that. GG. Whew, but that was a solid series. Again, I do apologize for the frame drops and the rough connection that we did have with the clean feed, or the rough connection that the clean feed had with everyone else. I do apologize, but regardless, GG, well played. Congratulations to Berserker Esports and Twisted Fairy. They will be facing off against each other in the coming days in the upper bracket. Oh, GG, well played. And I look forward to it. Meanwhile, a shout out to OFFSYDE, a shout out to Club NV. Something special that happened here today is that we had nothing but ace matches. We had purely ace match. They went all the way to the game 7 here, both series in a row. Some great StarCraft was had. Beautiful StarCraft. And when it comes to what comes next, tomorrow's matches. You can see them before you hear on the right hand side. Tomorrow is going to be Offside versus the Starving Camels. That is an elimination match on the lower bracket, followed by Club NV versus Hyperberg. Here we go. These are 2 elimination matches. The losers will be taken away from the tournament. They will be eliminated from WTL. The winners will have another chance to make it through into Code S. And there we have it. Tonight's day of StarCraft has come to an end. Hopefully tomorrow the clean feed is a little bit more stable. What I will say, today is day 4 of Code A, and today was the worst day when it came. Like, it was the best day when it came to the games, when it came to the series. It was the worst day when it came to the clean feed connection here. It was rough. I'll be honest. It was rough, right? It was very much so a slideshow for most of the broadcasts today. Again, it's out of our control. We can't really do anything. I know that SE Boy and the Chinese broadcasting team, they're doing their best. They're trying to resolve those issues, but at the end of the day, like, if the connection is unstable, there's only so much they can do. They did restart their PC. They restarted their setup. Didn't fix it, unfortunately, and hopefully things do clear up tomorrow. Again, I did mention that today was the worst of it, and I imagine this is going to be the exception to the norm. I hope so, at least. I hope so. And if there are any issues like this, hopefully they get resolved before Code S. The last thing we want is for games to be like this. In the past, for Code S, when the stream gets a little bit too unstable, we have been able to join the games. They have given us permission to do that, but that's only if it's literally unwatchable. Like, if the stream goes down and if nothing can be done, then we have been invited to join games. But again, generally they're not too fond of it. SE Boy, they want the players to have the best experience possible, and the reality is that the latency that we're seeing here is not affecting the players. It's not in game. It's not in game. It's more with the feed itself. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Fingers crossed. Across your Ethernet cord. Send your internet to SE Boy. Send it to them. They need it, Papi. They need it. GG. Well played. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Thanks so much for the support. We do appreciate it. And with that, we are going to be wrapping up here for tonight. We're going to be coming back tomorrow, and tomorrow is going to be a big day of StarCraft, actually. Yeah, it's a little bit daunting. So tomorrow, we're going to be back in... We're gonna be back in 12 hours. In 12 hours time, we're gonna be returning with the KSL. The Korean StarCraft League is in 12 hours. If you want some Korean StarCraft, if you want to watch players like Dark, Hero, Classic, Gumiho, DRG, Solar, Byeon, Kyor, the best of the best in Korea, they do face off on a bi-weekly basis in the KSL. So we'll see you guys tomorrow for the Korean StarCraft League. Afterwards, we're going to be hosting our own tournament, the Sea Duckling Open. SDO Sea Duckling Open is going to be tomorrow in math at 7 p.m. AST. It's going to be 6 hours after KSL, so that's going to be in 18 hours time. That's some quick math. In 18 hours time, we're going to be live with the SDO. That is going to be our monthly Bronze to Diamond tournament. It's a little bit more laid back, a little bit more chill. If you're a player between the ranges of Bronze and Diamonds, then you can play in Sea Duckling Open. We got you covered. We got you covered there. So if you want to join, you can join us here tomorrow for SDO. And after Sea Duckling Open, after KSL, we have World Team League, day 5 of this tournament of WTL. So back to back, 3 broadcasts in a row. This is more the norm. We would usually have 2 or 3 broadcasts a day. I've been a little bit sick and unwell, so I've been avoiding this, but I'm recovering. I'm getting a lot better, and I'm ready. I'm ready to get back into casting like we usually did. I've been missing it. I've been missing these grinds of like back-to-back broadcasts, like 9, 10, 11, 12-hour casts. Let's go. I'm ready for it. And if you are curious, if you want to watch it, hit that follow button. Follow us on Twitch, follow us on YouTube, follow us on Twitter, Discord, Facebook, Instagram, all things CranKy Ducklings, ! Socials in the chat, and you'll get a link to all of our social media. Again, we have 3 broadcasts tomorrow, and we have 2 broadcasts on Sunday. And it isn't just our broadcast, but there's also ESL Master Spring on top of all of that. So A lot of StarCraft going on, a lot of StarCraft to watch. Best of luck if you're a viewer. It can be quite taxing to watch everything, let alone cast everything, but even watching everything can be quite a daunting task as well. So best of luck this weekend. Best of luck. There's a lot going on. Otherwise, thank you for watching. Thank you for the support. We'll see you guys next time for KSL, for Duckling Open, and for World Team League tomorrow. See you then. Ciao, papi, ciao. Hasta luego.